I read. The 29-year-old woman, Joanna Craw, who faked a kidnapping incident last week in Takoradi in the Western region, has been jailed for 6 years. She was sentenced by the Takoradi Harbour Circuit Court A on 2 counts of deceiving a public officer and publication of false news. I take that again. She was sentenced by the Takoradi Harbour Circuit Court A on 2 counts of deceiving a police officer and publication of false news. This was after she pleaded guilty to the offenses on Monday, October 25, 2021, when she was arraigned before the court presided over by Michael Kojo Ampuedu. For the publication of false news, she was sentenced to 2 years in prison. And for the charge of deceiving a public officer, she was sentenced to 6 years in prison, to bring the total sentence to 8 years. However, both sentences are to run concurrently, and so she is to spend 6 years in prison. The court said it took into consideration the fact that Joanna is a first-time offender. She has a child, and the fact that she cooperated with investigators and reported herself to the police when the matter was reported to the police. While in prison, her child is to be in the custody of her adopted father, whom she had attempted to extort money from by faking the kidnapping incident. The court said the sentence is to deter other people who may be considering a similar offense. Before the sentence on Tuesday, the court ordered the police to do a pregnancy test. The case was adjourned when it was called Tuesday morning. My brother, my sister, this is the issue. False news in the media. Come along with me. Let's reason. Devoid of any emotions and bias. This is a woman. She deceived a police officer, told the police officer that she had been kidnapped. Now, my brother, my sister, she said this for 2 reasons. 1, to be able to extort money from somebody. That's number 1. And 2, there's a pregnancy test that is being asked to be done on her. Why? Because she said she was pregnant, whatever it was, and at the end of the day, it came out that they had to scientifically find out what it was. My brother, my sister, this has not been the first case. If you read further, it says Joanna with 2 other people last week faked a kidnapping incident in Takoradi in the Western region. The other 2 are Susanna Awochi, age 27, and Francis Eshan, 27. They allegedly faked a kidnap and demanded a ransom of 5,000 from her adopted father. My brother, my sister, we have also heard about an instance somewhere around Ghana where people every now and then, in not just one case, have faked that they were either kidnapped by people who wanted to kill them for ritual purposes, and they finally found their way out just to cause a big alarm. Some do it for political reasons, just to be able to create a certain atmosphere that the country is unsafe. You all remember there was a time when women were being kidnapped left, right, and center. You all remember the case where a woman said she was pregnant, and then she was kidnapped, and then she lost the pregnancy in one way or the other. Another person too said, oh, she was pregnant and gave birth, and she was kidnapped and the baby was taken away. Every now and then, How many of you remember the case where a certain lady said she was on a bus traveling a few years back when some armed robbers stopped the bus and raped every woman on the bus? She was the only woman who was not raped, all because she was menstruating at that time. How many of you remember that story? Can you all remember what happened to that story? What kind of finality was brought to that story? In Ghana, we hear the breaking news, yet we never hear a finality to the issue in most of the cases. What happened to the lady who said she was kidnapped and thrown away in the bush, and she found a way from the bush by some mysterious circumstances? My brother, my sister, at the end of the day, we are unable to tell exactly the exact motives of some of these people. It could be political, it could be for some other reasons. Now, this lady here, my brother, my sister, is going to jail for 6 solid years for deceiving a public officer. And number 2, for also saying that she was kidnapped and wanted a ransom. Now ask yourself, my brother, my sister, why are these things happening all of a sudden? It happened in the past, yes, but the rate is rising. Why? All because of social media hype. Some people do it, my brother, my sister, for the hype on social media. And right now, that social media is even paying. It has made it worse. Some people do that for views and likes. Some people get paid because of such fake news. And some people do it for political reasons. Whatever it is, I believe that the police has a handful to handle right now. With the onset of social media, my brother, my sister, it's made it worse. Last 2 weeks, we saw 2 guys in a car, allegedly in a homosexual activity. A week after, we saw the same crew in a church, pretending to be a pastor and also a church member, somebody's wife, having sex in the church. My brother, if people can go this far in order to make money, if people can go this far for the hype, then we are in trouble. How many people even believe what is on social media? Right now, social media is so inundated with false news that if you are not careful, in the next few years to come, social media would be nothing but nothing. Anybody who has nothing to do does that nothing on social media. Women who have 1 or 2 things to flaunt, that is where they flaunt that. Praying men who want 1 or 2 women to exercise their lust on, they jump on social media. Whilst others are using it for very positive things, in our part of the world, full of so much negativity and foolishness, we have launched on the negative part of it and gorging on it as if we were hungry jackals. It saddens me. Sometimes I just want to walk out of social media and forget the whole hype. Right now, what can you believe on social media and what can't you believe? Fake news all over the world. The more sensational your news is, the heavier it is for views and likes. How many people strip naked on social media? All because they want to get views and likes. How many people live a life of pretense on social media just because they want the views and the likes? Again, whilst others are using it for positive things, we have decided to be the negative people that we have always been, at least in recent times. It hurts so much that when you want news, either the news is skewed or it is just not newsy at all. You grant an interview and say one thing, and when they are putting it back on social media, they have a way of garnishing it and making it so heavy so they get their views and likes. What has become of us? Well, to the police, thank you so much for bringing a finality to this. We are hoping to see the finality that the other ones would also have. We trust that you'll be able to do a good job, and we thank the police so very much for standing up and bringing some dignity back to the Ghana police. There's still a lot of work to do. And I believe that all the other things happening would also have the attention of the police. And if the police continues like this, in less than 1 year, Ghana police will be one of the most talked about in the whole of West Africa and beyond. The name of the police has been tainted. When you talk police, it's about bribery. When you talk police, it's all because people couldn't get a job, so they have decided to be part of this. My brother, my sister, leadership is very important. Right now, IGP Dampari and his people, with his leadership, in fact, we are seeing a lot of action. Right now, my brother, my sister, when you walk around town, it looks like people are beginning to forget about Armiyao Anas. There was a time Armiyao Anas was more powerful than the whole of the Ghana police. True or false? If I'm lying, just tell me that I'm lying. There was a time people trusted Armiyao Anas more than the Ghana police. We have seen and heard people say, I wish Anas will come here with his camera and all this nonsense will stop. Then you ask yourself, where is the police? There was a time Armiyao Anas was the most feared man in Ghana. There was a time Armiyao Anas was the man every eye looked up to for some kind of justice. True or false? Anas Armiyao worked alongside the police, but because of what Anas did, people gave him more respect and credence than the police. Whilst they saw the police taking 2 cedis and 5 cedis as bribe on the streets, and allowing drivers to drive without licenses, allowing drivers to drive without back tail lights. Like I just came back from Takrady, 5 cars in a row, none of them had back tail lights, and they were driving in the night, in the rain. Driving from Takrady a couple of days ago, that was on Sunday, my brother, my sister. The road is as dark as hell. You cannot drive with normal lights. You have to drive with high lights. And if everybody drives with high lights, what happens? Your vision is blurred, you crash and die. And if police can stand on that road, my brother, my sister, and allow cars to drive through without their tail lights, then it is so bad. At a point, I almost told one policeman, "Sir, look at those cars that we just allowed to go. Look at them. There's not a single light behind them." It looks like the police would only look at the papers and look at this, and when the car drives away, they don't tend to see, do they have tail lights or not? The police is improving. I believe that the IGP will rise to a higher occasion with his people. He's not working alone. Leadership was the biggest problem of the Ghana police, as the IGP has proven. We have had an IGP who said this is not heaven, so we shouldn't strive to see things become immaculate, perfect. There would always be robbery. There would always be kidnapping. There would always be foolishness. And we should come to terms with that. After all, this is not heaven. An IGP going on retirement. My brother, my sister, this IGP should have had a statue put in front of the police. Before people go to Mecca, they come and stone that statue before they go to Mecca. Every Muslim going to Mecca should line in front of that statue, stone it and curse it. When you stone, you say Calabar. Shegen Banza Calabar. Shegen Banza Calabar. Shegen Banza Dan Calabar. Shegen Banza Dan. And all Christians who are going to Israel should line up before that. Slap that statue. That's what an IGP told us. Now, the youngest IGP ever in the history of this country has proven us right that the old men have no brains anymore. Brains gone, empty shells. All they know to do is to sit down and flout their power and deal with family and friends. As I said, and thankfully, some news outlets pick that up. When we say very positive things, out of 1,000 we say only one gets published. But when we say a little foolishness, one small foolishness for the laughs, all the newspapers will carry that. But the sense that we make, 1 million of that, only one is captured. But one small foolish thing we say to test the waters, hey, they will multiply it 1 billion times, and then every day they are published. Oh, Ghana, so interested in negativity. This IGP, once the people have endorsed you, do not be in a hurry for applause. Because when everybody starts applauding you, it means you have gone haywire, you are wrong. Just make sure that you are focused on fighting crime. If you want to massage the temperaments of the people, you're going to lose it. The law is the law. Now the police social media pages are up. The last time the police posted anything on their social media page before this IGP came was in 20 BC. 20 years before Christ was born. The police became so analog, still running around with sticks like Fulani people chasing their cattle, when other police people are holding digital equipment. Okay, you go. You have not that 2 years ago you were involved in blah blah. No, our police still walked around with sticks like Fulani herdsmen. Sticks. This heavy thing. They carry it and they are running around. Jesus have mercy. Before this IGP came, my brother, my sister, we had policemen who were 80 years and were still walking on the road. Like one I saw on my way to Takrady. He was so respectful, so I didn't even want to talk about him. You could see that this man is 80 plus. But he was on the road in the rain. And it reminded me of my grandfather who was a policeman, Inspector Audu Kankeni. Ish. He came over to me and said, "Sir, you are approaching the police checkpoint and you are speeding like this." I said, "Sir, I didn't see any signboard and there was no police reflector." He said, "Just turn your back and see that signboard." I said, "Oh, that signboard, there was nothing written on it." He said, "Oh, I understand. It's a little faded, but there is something written on it." I said, "Sir, I couldn't see anything." He said, "Well, it looks like we have to print that thing again." I said, "Sir, thank you so much. But where's your raincoat, sir?" He said, "There are other passengers behind you, other people, other road users. So you just go." It behoves this IGP, my brother, my sister, to stand up, fight for the police as well. The police must get what is due them. And listen, this is the final thing I'm going to say on this. Police, if you will get your respect, listen, I'm giving you a prophecy. If you believe it is unto you, if you don't believe it is unto you, it's not going to be a doom prophecy. Listen, police, if you want your respect, if you want what is due you to be given to you, if you want a very, very good retirement package that can take care of you for the next 40 years that you would have been at home without working, you retire at 60. Hopefully you will go home around 100. So you have 40 years more to live a good life. If you want a good package, this is the time. So if you understand that this is the time that you will get a good package, then throw all your efforts and all your weight behind this visionary IGP. Today, when you are driving on the road, in fact, a few weeks back, red traffic light, 60 cars will come and pass as if they are all blind, they can't see. Today, when it's even yellow and they are 20 million miles away, they are beginning to stop. Visionary leadership. We want to abide by the law, but the leaders are not making it possible for us to. So if there is one leader who is ready to crack the whip, people are ready to work. Do we get it? Do we get it? I promise that this will be the last thing I will say, so I'll leave it. I'm going to look at the next thing. So this woman who is going to jail for 6 years, it hurts me anytime I hear a woman is going to jail. Anytime I hear that a woman is going to jail, it's terrible. It's not good for anybody to go to jail. And I've said it time and again. If I was the president, there would not be anything like jail. We would take them to the farm, state farm, work there to feed people. When you come out, you will get a badge, a big badge of honor that you worked for 6 years to feed Ghana. That's your jail certificate. Like Kwame Nkrumah and the rest had PG, prison graduate. You would have a badge of honor that you worked to fill the pot. I leave it here, brethren. It pains me that this lady is going to jail for 6 years. Do you want to go to jail for 6 years? Your life will be stalled. In fact, if you go into police custody for even 1 day, it changes you. Ask those who have been there before. Police will arrest you and put you behind bars for 1 day. It's crazy. Your whole mind is scattered. You will see other people. Some of them are drug addicts. Some of them are demons. You will be lucky if some of them don't even tap you in the middle of the night and say, hey, pull down your trousers. They want to sodomize you. Or pedal sound. Some of them have been there for ages, no sex. So when they see somebody who looks like a prey, they will sodomize you and break your anal cavity. I leave it here. My brother, my sister, there's another thing I would like to look at here, and that's quite interesting. And I'm reading this from Ghana Web, and it was published today, the 26th day of October 2021, and it says, arresting pastors will make you an enemy of God. Pastor warns IGP. I read. The lead pastor of Dunamis Christian Shop, Prophet Suglo Prosper, has advised the new Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu Dampari, against arresting prophets. Prophet Suglo, in an open letter, said arresting prophets would only make the IGP an enemy of God. The prophet admitted that he likes what the new IGP is doing by trying to fix the country from his angle. But he believes going after prophets for speaking God's revelations is not right. According to Prophet Suglo, Christianity and men of God are not the problems facing the country. He wrote, "Sir, I am not against what you are doing, but it is very risky to attack the prophetic ministry, sir. This is a wrong tool, sir. The problem of this nation is not the men of God or Christianity, sir. Sir." Well, some things he wrote that are not understandable. But he said, Mr. IGP Dampare, what proofs that does God, what proof does God owe you, sir? I am not supporting some acts and behavior of some of the prophets. But, sir, you can't judge them through that. It might be how God called them. Who am I to judge another man's servant? So this is the man. Foolishness, no sense. This man is supposed to be a prophet. I will not doubt him. I will not fight his anointing. But this is foolishness. He is telling IGP that God will not come down and give him a proof. So I sit down, and any idiot who calls himself a prophet can come to me and tell me that I am a wizard, that I was the one who collapsed Namwan's business, and that I was the one who sodomized a certain little boy around the corner till the boy died. And he tells me that is from God, and I know I did nothing. This guy here is saying that he is speaking the mind of God, so let him say anything at all. IGP has no right to ask for any evidence. These are the illiterates on the pulpit. These are the guys with no sense. These are the guys who stand in the church and say, this. They say it in the church. My brother, my sister, this thing, probably that is the only thing that I will say is positive about Shatawale's stand. It has brought a lot of attention to this nonsense. That's the only positive thing. Every negative thing has a positive. Even killing people, negative and terrible as that is, there is always a positive. And I will not go into it. How many so-called men of God have destroyed homes? How many so-called men of God and prophets have caused so much confusion that people have hanged themselves? People have committed suicide in one way or the other. People's businesses have collapsed. People don't have a life of their own. They are now walking like walking shadows. Then you come and tell me that IGP cannot ask for evidence. Then anybody is a prophet. Anybody can say anything and go free. My problem is, my brother, when you have a prophecy for somebody, and that prophecy is that sensitive, do you need to put it out? It's a personal prophecy. What are all the prayer warriors doing in the church? Could you not tax just one of them to contact two people that you have this prophecy for them? Even when they meet those people, could you just speak on the phone to those people and say, this is what I had a revelation about for you? If they believe it, is unto them. But no, we want to document it So that when it comes to pass, yes, we did that. We are not against men of God. We are not against genuine prophets. We are against people who talk with no brains. My brother, my sister, if these people come to my church and the laws of the church, we are supposed to give your prophecy to you in the open and put it in the public space, like on YouTube, like on Facebook, and you know that is what happens. For instance, I was in New York the other day, and I was going to visit Jay-Z's protege. My brother, my sister, when I went in there, there was a signboard right at the entrance. There are cameras here, filming activities in here. If you do not want to be filmed, you have a choice, you can just return. I walked in there and there was a party. And at the party, so many different things were happening. So if you become part of this party and you are filmed and it goes out, at least you gave your consent for this to go out. But the nation will now look at it and see in the laws, does it breach anything? I'm not a lawyer, I won't pretend to be one, I'll leave it there. But where you stand and blurt it out, like a certain prophet that I know, he said he had seen something about me and I don't doubt him. And he went to church and stood there and he had my phone number. Me and him were talking. We used to talk. I was just a phone call away. But he still went to church and asked them, oh, if you know him, call him, let him come here, let me lay hands on him and blah, blah, blah. Who are you glorifying? We leave it here, my brother. So this prophet, what's his name again? Prophet Suglo Prosper. You are not speaking sense. Do not throw this country into confusion. We've had enough confusion already. Prophets saying things, 90% of all the things the prophets are saying are not even coming to pass. This one says, oh, this one will win the elections. And it doesn't happen. And when you want to talk, they say, don't touch the anointed ones. We love your anointing, but be more responsible with your anointing. There's what we call prophetic wisdom. I'm sure if your mother was a witch, you won't go to the church and say, me mommy a before. Or a before. You won't say that. Or your son was a terrible armed robber who had raped 6 people. You won't come to church and say, me ba. Mon can share some brother whom wakwa raping nipa 6. Or your cromfo. Mon fanu bra yes or chino be woo. You would not say that. But somebody's son, you want to go ahead and say that. Let's be responsible. I'll leave it here, my brother, my sister, and I'm going to look at the next thing as quickly as I can. And yeah, today we have a number of things. Yes, look at this. This is quite political, but we'll look at it. I'm reading it from City Newsroom. And this one says, was published today, the 26th day of October 2021. And it's written by one Godwin Akwete Alote. He says, sack ministers who want to be presidential candidates. Samens to Akufo-Addo. You remember Samens? He was the one on the presidential trip who people were heckling in the US, or was it London, somewhere like that. And he was saying, come and check my passport. You know, Ghanaians were heckling. He was working with Gabi. It was so embarrassing. I think he is the boss of City TV, City Radio. I'm not too sure about it, but it looks like that. I don't know them. So this one says the chief executive of the City FM is, oh, all right, so it's confirmed. The chief executive officer of City FM and City TV, Samuel Atta Mensah Samens, wants the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to relieve his ministers who have officially hinted of their interest to contest for the party's flag bearership race in the 2024 elections of their posts. According to Mr. Atamensa, such persons may lose focus on their core mandate if they are not made to step aside for others to be given the opportunity to help the government execute its agenda of alleviating the plight of Ghanaians and improving the economy. This man called Sames has spoken sense. So much wisdom. It is true. My brother, if you are in the school and you are the grounds prefect, and all of a sudden you want to become the school prefect, SP, because you think that the grounds there would make your school uniform dirty, how are you going to be competent on the ground from that time when you thought that you should have been the SP? Leave that aside. Imagine you were in a class where you were studying arts, geography, economics, and all that, like I did. And all of a sudden, you feel like because your friend has become an astronaut, or he's studying some kind of engineering and making a lot of name around, you have developed so much interest in the sciences. From that time, your interest in the arts would begin to wane. True or false? But Mr. President has made this a laughing matter, teasing people left, right, and center. Whilst people are drawing knives, metaphorically, at each other's throats, ready to slit their throats for political power. Mr. President is making this a joke. What a flippant president. My brother, all a Greek minister, confused a Greek minister, arrogant a Greek minister, wants to be president. Look at this guy. You think we are jokers? He is older than Nana Akufo-Addo. He wants to be president. After we have seen the mayhem, after we have seen the treachery that an old president like Nana Addo has meted unto us, unleashed unto us, the draconic rule that Nana Addo has spat on us, another old guy wants to be president, a Greek minister. We all heard about the fertilizer, right? The guy who is making news all over the place, that he won some awards and he came to Ghana trying to set up a fertilizer, whatever, manufacturing company, blah, 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 blah. The factory was going to be located where, blah, blah, boom, 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 boom. A Greek minister, arrogant as he is, a non-achiever politically, Akoto, that's his name, comes to tell us that he is doing the bidding of the NDC, and he's doing the bidding of the NDC, and he has failed. What factory? I didn't stop anybody. Talk about the cracks of the matter. Tell us that nobody came up to you with anything like this. It's not true. They should show the documents, and that the documents that were shown on TV were all lies and false. But no. They are busily talking. They are doing the bidding of the NDC. Mahama is pushing them to play the fool. Blah, 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 blah. Without, that is a defeatist attitude to dealing with the problem. And this guy wants to be president. From the day he lied to Ghanaians that a bunch of plantains is 3 cities, 4 cities, 5 cities. Yes, big bunch of plantain because planting for jobs. Planting for what? Planting for what? What has become of the planting for jobs? You are crying and running around the fertilizer in short and blaming that on people. Oh, this person was not supposed to get the fertilizer, but he got it. And I'm also hearing that they were even blaming it on donkeys carrying them to wherever. As to whether that is true or not is unto them. And this guy who couldn't handle the garden backyard. Yes, the backyard garden. Who wants to handle the whole compound. And And Mr. President says they all want to be president. Some men says sack them. There is the tendency of losing focus, but these guys have lost focus long since. Bawumia will never look in the direction of Wale Wale until he has a funeral, so that they will go quickly, giddy, fixing street lights and bulbs, and the people there, those there, some of those who have no brains will be clapping. Bawumia has done well. Oh, woo, Okpongo manga, woo, Bawumia, woo, Okpongo manga, why, Okpongo manga, why, Bawumia, Okpongo manga, Otima Gwali. My God. Yesterday I talked about this. I don't want to go into it again. Lies every night, every day. Lied so much that they are now ashamed to even go to the people that they lied to. Lies that have been exposed, like daylight exposes night. We'll build you a harbor, and we'll build you an airport, because you see it's a triangular motion from Ashanti region, Kumasi, you go to Takra, then the western region, then Cape Coast, that is central region. You form a triangle, and it is the hub of economic activities. And the innocent people of Takra, Cape Coast, or Tibrofo, and Tiasienso, oh, Cabrofo, or Tibrofo, papa, hey, or Tibrofo, and Tiasienso, right? Tiasie, how would you know say all right? Say, hey, but me our Cabrofo, and Tiasienso, right? Less than a year down the line, sleepy president goes there and swears between his teeth, swears the God of his cathedral, swears the God of Israel where he went to borrow a stone, swears on his oversized suit, swears on his sky bathing, swears on the private jet that he is killing the taxpayer with, that he never promised anybody a harbor. And he went ahead to say it will not even make sense to make such a promise, because Elmina, which is just a few meters away, there is a harbor being built. There's one in Takrade. It will be a foolish man who would want to build a harbor in Cape Coast. So you have a foolish manifesto, right? And you push a foolish man to go there and also tell them that, oh, we are building you a harbor, and we are also going to build you Tibrofo. These are the people who want to be president. Incompetent Mahama, you repeated that 1 billion times. The dead goat. Hey, Mahama, corrupt. Today, there's nothing you do without referring to Mahama. Every little thing, Mahama. The economy is very good, but Mahama is lying. Hey, we would have been producing sugar by now had it not been Mahama who built that useless sugar factory there. Hey, everything is about Mahama. So Samet, thanks for this one. And this is a man who has sympathies with the, ruling party. If not so, I'm not sure that he will be in the entourage with Gabi and the rest. If he was against them, I'm not sure that he will be in that entourage. And he's speaking truth to power. Thank you for speaking truth to power. And keep it up like that. If only Mr. President would hear. Arrogant president who will talk to people just anyhow. My brother, my sister, have you heard that? There's another guy I was reading somewhere this morning. He's saying that, oh, their flower chief is being pushed by the NDC to say whatever he's saying. Ish. Are we safe? Are we safe? Everything now is Mahama. The beginning of the fall of Bawumia was because he had nothing good to say. But Mahama, every time. And Ghanaians got used to that. Anywhere he appeared, they knew what he was going to say, Mahama. And follow it with a chain of lies. I leave it here. My brother, my sister, so many things to deal with today. And today I want to look at this other thing. And I need us to open our ears and listen with rapt attention. Yes, we need to open our ears and listen. How many of you remember Agujo? Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP Benjamin Agujo. Or Agujo. Well, alleged coup. ACP Agujo requests 10 days to travel to Kenya. Courts to rule on October 26. That is today. Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Benjamin Agujo, the senior police officer facing the charge of abetment in an alleged coup with 9 others, is asking the High Court for 10 days to travel. Dr. Agujo, who has pleaded not guilty to the charge per his application before the court, is seeking to travel to act as a resource center person at the security sector reform training in Nairobi. I leave it here. You all remember this man? He was the man who gave a lecture on how the IGP should not be picked up by the president and some other sensitive things he touched concerning the police. Then later we heard about some coup plot and how he allegedly was part of it. And from that time, this man has been living in oblivion. I hope that he receives justice, and I hope that they will go through it properly and bring an end to this. I'll leave it here, my brethren. The last one I'm going to look at today is this, and I'll close on that. This is interesting. And this I'm reading from my Joy Online. Was published today, the 26th of October 2021 at 2:18 p.m. just this afternoon. IEA, we have failed to raise enough revenue. A reason for high borrowing. That's from the IEA. IEA, we have failed to raise enough revenue. A reason for high borrowing. I read. The Institute of Economic Affairs has charged government to take bold and innovative measures to mobilize resources and allocate them judiciously to support long-term sustainable growth. This, it believes, is capable of delivering sufficiently high living standards to Ghanaians and moving the country out of poverty within a generation. In its expectations of the 2022 budget and economic planning, the IEA said Ghana has a serious challenge with domestic resource mobilization. Year after year, domestic revenue falls short of budget targets. Meanwhile, the revenue targets themselves are also not sufficiently ambitious vis-a-vis the country's needs. I'll leave it here. My brother, of course, if you have it, you won't borrow. It's only a fool who goes about borrowing what he already has. If you have it already, there's no need for you to go out and borrow. This is what this guy, the IEA, say. Because we don't have it, that's why we are going out borrowing. We are not mobilizing enough domestic resources. What is the meaning of that? Simple. We are not raising resources internally. How do we raise revenue internally? By raising the economic activities. If you have high economic activities, if you have a boom in economic activities, there certainly would be revenue. If there is no increase in productivity, there cannot be an increase in resource mobilization. Is this difficult to understand? Tax. Hey, in church, I think this will be easier for people to understand. A lot of churches take 10% tithe. Common sense will tell you that if my salary is 100 Ghana cedis a month, it means that my tithe will be 10 cedis. But if I earn 1,000 Ghana cedis because of an economic boom, then I'll be given 100 Ghana cedis as tithe. If I earn 100,000 Ghana cedis, my brother, my sister, 100,000, the tithe would increase. And the more tithe you pay, the more revenue the church is able to mobilize. Now let's leave the church and come to the states. The percentage of tax can remain the same, but the amount of revenue that is collected or mobilized can more than triple or quadruple, depending on the economic activities happening. The farmer who was paying a tax of 100 Ghana cedis now can pay 10,000 Ghana cedis, because when he was earning 1,000 Ghana cedis from his farm activities, now because of improved whatever, production has increased and is earning 100,000 Ghana cedis. So yes, the tax is still 10%, but he's paying more because he earns more. And when the people earn more, they prosper. The nation prospers. But when you have a country that is so demonized with corruption, you have a country that is so demonized with nepotism, pluralism, nyafu didiism, no matter how much the economic activities boom, there will never be a zoom. Because the man who is now supposed to pay more because he earns more finds a way around it to still pay the same. That is not even less. So all that IEA is saying is that if we are not able to do a proper domestic revenue mobilization, we will continue flying expensively in chartered flights, taking our bath in the skies, eating pizza, and drinking Moet Chandon. My brother, my sister, and going around cap in hand, knees on the ground, begging. That's all that the IEA is saying in a nutshell. Recently, Internal Revenue Service was chasing people around. Those who had gifts. Oh, they gave somebody a gift of a car. They were there knocking at the door. Hey, if you have received a gift, then you have to pay tax. It's called gift tax. And I just laughed. Have the people been educated on these things? A country where we have over 60% illiteracy. People don't know why they should even pay tax. A country, my brother, my sister, where you meet an old man and you can't ask the old man, how are you, sir? It's an insult. The old man should be the person to ask the younger person, how are you? If you make a mistake and ask, how are you? So when you swadi on, when you swadi, go to Kumasi Kejetia and see an old man walking with his stick. Say, say when you swadi on. When in Swadia on, say Krama in Swadia and then Bolga Jum. Fiogo, true or false? Such a country. Then you say gift tax. How much have they even understood income tax? Then you bring gift tax. What is it? So people are running all over the place. Hey, what is this? No education. Your TV stations have been coup d'etat. Yes, by fake pastors and fake malams who are doing rituals left, right, and center. You have no space to educate the masses. GBC that used to do that. Send your girl child to school. Send your child to school. And even tax. They had all those things. Today GBC has been out-competed. How many people would go and sit down and be watching? Send your girl child to school. Send your girl child to school. Send your girl child to school. When there is a malam somewhere who is giving free money. When there's a fetish priest who is promising you a shorter way to riches. Who would watch GTV? That's why GTV is full of old men and women. 180-year-olds are all there. They are there. They are still playing music with cassette and CD. Yes, you go there and they put the music on the laptop, or it's a case. Last time I was there, GBC. Play from your computer. Say, what computer? Bring CD. GBC. Send your girl child to school. But that was the right thing they were doing. Educating the people. I leave it here, my brother, my sister. Today, I honestly did not want to talk. For obvious reasons. I'm not in the spirit. You can feel it. But whatever it is, I have spoken. To God be the glory, guidance and protection. My name, Blakk Rasta. It's been the Black Pot.
Why? Up, ye mighty race. Stand and take your rightful